Doing it in a caravan or a camper is like hectic enough. I'm like, how the hell did you do it in a freaking Ford Laser?
Wild Rose! Wild Rose!
I was waiting to just start talking, and then I didn't start talking. I'm like, why isn't there words coming out of my mouth?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, let's start. Welcome to this week's episode of The Wild Roads with Shonah Lee and Paula Ivy. Hello, Shonah. How are you today?
Hi, Paula. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good. We're going to
Very
talk about
cordial.
some things today. I'm going to ask Shonah some questions about something ridiculous that she has done in her lifetime, which is so going to be fun. But before we get started, I have a question. Hashtag awkward question time question. Shonah, what is a super awkward travel moment that you have had?
All right. So it's probably not super awkward because we've come to a point in our lives where it's just like, oh, it's not so bad. But I was early 20s, right? And I was embarrassed as F. Like we traveled around Australia, but we got, a trip cut short because we lost money. And that's another story. But we basically went to Ayers Rock and I was in my early 20s. I was 20 actually, because I came home for my 21st. And we had this camera and it was film camera. Yeah, it must have been a film camera. Oh my God, it was a...
Was this in the 90s?
Yeah.
I dare say it probably would have been a film camera.
Oh my God, it was the 90s. It was 1995 actually.
Unless you were
so-
super rich, because like I think digital cameras were just coming in and they were like super expensive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't get them till we had kids. So
Yeah.
so we had this film camera. And you know how it must have been, I don't know if it was El Cheapo or what, I actually can't remember, but you know how like you take a photo and it winds it on for the next, to be ready for the next photo.
Yeah.
So we're at Ayers Rock and we're behind the fence where everyone takes the photos of Ayers Rock as the sun is going down and it changes colours, right? Every minute or so, every 2 minutes, it changes colours. So there's a line of people, all these tourists, right? We're bang in the middle. And there's just people in their camper vans and families and there's tourists, like a group with toffee elderly people that have come to, like it's just an array of different people there just taking photos of the rock. Anyway, I had my camera to take photos of all the colours and no shit, my camera was the loudest out of 200 people. And so it's just like I'm taking the photo and I go click, click, and I go like this is on to the next thing.
To wind the film on. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I'm like, and then everyone's looking at me, and obviously like I wouldn't give a shit if that happened now, but as a 20-year-old I'm just like everybody's looking at me and my shitty old camera, and like everyone obviously probably getting into digital at that time and fandangle big zoom lenses and everything. Mine was just this shitty camera, but I just like I don't want to stop taking photos. This is freaking nuts. Like this is beautiful. Every minute or so it's changing color. So I get the camera and I take the photo, and as it was going like that, I'd put it under my arm and try and like hide it. And everyone was just like, it was just staring at me. I remember my face going red, and it was just a total moment because I had this freaking dicky camera. I think that was probably the most embarrassing. Like I said, if it happened now, I'd be like, whatever. But when you're 20, everything is just like, wow. So that was it for me.
When you're 20, you feel like if you're seen as being uncool for even a split second, it's like, oh my God, how could I even?
It's like I want to die right now. This is and this is where my Indy, my daughter, who's going to be turning 18 in a couple of weeks, like she is feeling this right now. She's like, oh my God, Mum, I want to die. I'm like, for what? Like it's nothing. Like a tiny little moment. But that's what it feels like when you're young. It's just like, this, I can't live anymore. Like, you know, it's weird, but it's just the way it is.
My story happened to you when you were 20. You probably literally would have died. So, like,
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait.
So in 2019, we traveled around Australia, and we've spoken about this on this podcast many times before. I traveled around Australia with my husband and my kids in our camper van for almost 12 months. One of my nightmares came true. It was when we were in this, where were we? I can't even remember where we were, but I remember the caravan park, and it was like really dusty, middle of nowhere. It was like, it wasn't like, by the time you come back from the shower block to have a shower, you're pretty much dirty again anyway, like that kind of dusty, dirty top end part of Australia type situation. And anywho, went over at I used to get up before everybody else in the morning, so I'd get at least an hour or two of work done before we'd start the day and travel or go off on adventures or whatever it was. So I would usually get up pretty early and go have my shower, and then I'd sit in my car off first, or I'd go down to wherever I could, depending on where we were, to do some work for an hour or two. Went over to have a shower this one morning, and got in the shower, showering, doing all the things. And then as I was getting out of the shower, I went into my bag and I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot my towel. So I'm standing there and I'm like, no! Like I had, this was like my nightmare. I'm like, oh, imagine going over to the shower block and having a shower and then forgetting your towel. That would be the worst, right?
You totally brought that upon yourself.
I think I kind of manifested it. So I was there and I'm like, okay, shit, I don't have my towel. And then I was like, all right, well, I'll just use, the clothes that I was wearing, and I'll use my t-shirt to dry myself off. And then I'll just wear that back to the camp, and then quickly go back and then get changed and whatever. And so I went to go do that. And then as I did that, I was like, I don't know, I would hang my bag on the back of the door, the hooks. And as I reached in to grab it out, I was so pissed off at myself that I accidentally went in and pulled everything out of my bag all at once, and it all went on the wet floor of the communal showers. And I'm like, ow!
Yeah.
What even no, that's worse than before.
No. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible. So I kind of had to half put these clothes back on. I ran back to the caravan and I grabbed my towel, grabbed some fresh clothes, and was ugh. So I ran back and had another shower.
Oh God, I would do that too. Heck yes. Oh, that's gross. You poor thing.
And the funny thing is that I actually did it more than once, but not that whole scenario. That was the first time it happened. And then I think I might have done it maybe once or twice more where I've forgotten my towel, and I was like, oh, how did I do that? And I would just use the t-shirt and then get dressed in whatever I could and then go.
Yeah.
It's always awkward.
Oh my God. This is the thing. And there's people that live that, that are van lifing and stuff they do that all the time if they're not showering in their own van or whatever. But
yeah,
they would have that down pat though.
Yeah. What to do when you forget your towel in communal showers? It's a bit of a situation.
It is a situation.
Not one you have to think about when you live in a home, really. Because if you forgot a towel and you're in the shower, you just do the quick nudie run through the house to get a towel, and it's so good.
Or you yell out, Indy, bring my towel!
I forgot my towel, help! Oh, fun times. Shonah Lee, I have a very, very hot question that I want to ask you, because this is been rattling around in my brain since you kind of have mentioned it a few times and I can't get my head around it. So as I said, we traveled to Australia in 2019 in a camper. So we had like beds and like an actual room. It was like 20 foot when you all popped it all out. So it wasn't huge, but at least it was like, you know, you had a kitchen, well, not a kitchen, but like, you know, a sink and a stovetop and beds and seats and stuff. But
luxury.
When we met,
I call that luxury.
Luxury, yeah. But when we met, I was actually in the middle of doing those travels. We were in Perth.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, it was before that. Perth was when we did our first live stream together. And we just met like a few months before that while I was traveling. And I remember that you casually said, oh yeah, I've traveled around Australia. I did it in my Ford Laser. And like, I like just doing it in a caravan or a camper is like hectic enough. I'm like, how the hell did you do it in a freaking Ford Laser? Like, that was my first car.
I know.
And I know how like small and uncomfortable.
Yes. I forgot it was your first car. Yes.
Not an outback driving around Australia type. Like
it's a
car.
It's a car to get you from A to B, like from 4 kilometers to work or something. Yeah, I know, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was
driving around Australia and living in it. How did you do this?
Oh my God.
Like, okay, the question I want to ask is like, what was the moment that you decided that go travel around Australia in my Ford Laser and we'll just sleep in it?
Oh gosh, it was a moment in my 20s. Well, I was 20. It was 1995. And, you know, by that time I'd been an adult for 2 years, but it felt like a lifetime. You know, it's just like, you go, oh my God, I've been an adult for so long. What am I doing with my life? I know.
I'm in my 20s now. God.
What am I even doing with my life? Oh my God. Anyway, so I was a baby. Like, you look back and I was a baby. And I was just, I guess I was doing, you know, we've done an episode about how many jobs we've had, and it would have been in between jobs. So I was doing a job that I didn't like, and my partner at the time was as well. And actually he'd finished uni and he just hadn't got a job that, you know, was related to his degree and all that sort of stuff. So, and we just had this fascination with Australia. Like, we just always had something that we had in common, that we wanted to see all the parts of Australia. And I don't know, I actually don't remember the decision making, but I had a Laser. He had mine was a 1984 Laser. So it was all faded on the bonnet. Like, it was not a new car.
Ooh.
Like, it was an old car. You know,
I'm pretty sure mine was around that age as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was a good year. They made them hard. Like, it lasted. It was a tough car.
They were tough cars.
Yeah.
But mine used to break down a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, everything went wrong. But it was easily fixed. My partner's car was an old 64 XM Falcon thing. So it's a done up car, old car, which wouldn't have made anywhere. So my Laser was it. We're like, let's go. Let's just quit our jobs. Let's just travel around Australia. And if we need money, we'll just get work wherever we land, kind of thing. And let's just do it. We can now. Why not just do it? So, you know, we didn't have a house. I think we were living at my parents' at the time. And we just did. And we got in the Laser. We packed the Laser and we made a plywood bit that was probably about 1/2 metre wide that could sort of fit in on the floor of the Laser, because it was a hatchback, guys. So you could put the seats down and, you know, put some more stuff in there. And with 2 sort of like little leg things, that was our bed. And it was kind of like, well, when we need to sleep at night, right, we'll just put the seats right forward against the dash. Yeah. And then we'll put the back seats down, and where the gap is, we'll put the little bit of plywood bit. So we've got more room, so that will be where our pillows go.
Yeah.
and all our luggage and our gas bottle for our little cooker that we had, and our saucepans and those things would go under that, and we'd sleep with our legs tucked up, like
Pretty much in the boot of the car.
in the boot of the car. Yep. And and there was no ventilation other than winding your windows down. So it's kind of like when we got up to the tropics, or when it was like up in North Queensland and stuff, because we went around the coast, there was big, massive mozzies, right? There were big ass mozzies. And they don't let up.
No,
And
like
so-
we're northern New South Wales now, and we've got the biggest mozzies.
Yeah.
Like I keep seeing mozzies that are like, an inch wide. I'm like, what is that? No. And I'm covered in mosquito bites right now, actually. So yeah,
it's bad here as well. But we've got these little tiny ones down here in the Mallee, but like wouldn't have worried me if we could just leave the windows up, right? But it's humid. It was hot.
you need air.
It was August, and up there, that's warm up there. And we needed air. So it was just like, it was, man, it tested us.
That's a serious like conundrum that you're in. It's like breathing or mosquitoes, because like being covered in mosquito bites is horrible. So
This
like
is the thing.
so when you like lying there and you're like, we really need some air, but the mosquitoes, like that is a true problem. Like,
But also,
right.
but also add to that, it's freaking hot. So if you don't have the air, it's like a sauna in there.
Yeah.
And you've got two bodies in the boot of a car that can't help but touch each other. It's just like, get off me. For God's sake, like, don't touch me. It's hot. Like, so it was insane, but it's kind of like it's just what we did. It was just like we were freaking loving this. It was living. It was like this is living. This is cool. Let's go. I loved it. It was pretty amazing. But we had so many like dilemmas with that little old laser. She did well. She did so good.
Yeah.
We just But,
Well, especially getting up towards the top of Australia, you come across a lot of roads that aren't as smooth as what they are in the bigger cities.
We tried to go to go as far as what we could up towards Cooktown. Like four-wheel drive only.
Yeah, we went up there. The corrugations are relentless. Oh, yeah, you definitely need even in a four-wheel drive, it was hectic going up there.
Yeah, we did have to turn around. We had to do like a 20-point turn to get to we had to like go a little bit, reverse a little bit, go forward a little bit, reverse, because it was just a one-way track what we're on. It was just like, no, we needed a four-wheel drive on this.
And the turning circle on a laser
And
is
the turning
not the
circle.
best.
No, there's no power steering. So we had to turn around and go back, because in those days there was no Google. We didn't have a phone.
Yeah,
We just had a map.
Oh, paper map.
We had a big map that covered like the whole windscreen. It was freaking nuts.
How do you're like, okay, where are we? Oh, I don't know. Let me get out the map. You pull out the map out of the glove box, and then you unfold this ginormous sheet trying to figure out where you are.
That's exactly what it was. That's exactly how we lived. And
I remember being a kid, and like, or even when I learned how to drive, there was no, we didn't have GPS. Like we had to have the what was it called? It was like the maps book, and it was like a book. And I remember like looking up like where to go, because I had a lot of jobs
and stuff.
Yeah. Because I had a lot of jobs where I had to drive to places when I first started working, and like photography locations and stuff like that. And I used to have to like look up in the book and read the map of like, how do I go, and kind of like memorize, okay, I need to like this and then right and then left and here and blah, blah, blah. And like, it was such a pain in the ass because like, if you're like, okay, cool. Oh, hang on, I forgot what's next. You got to pull out the book and you're like, hang on a sec.
Exactly. I know. That's a funny thing. Yeah.
But I suppose it is better for like memory retention to have to learn those sorts of things, like to have to remember directions versus, oh, just put it on my GPS and it will just tell me where to go.
Oh, this is such a thing. Like when you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Like, I was somewhere the other day. I was in a town that's not ours, and it was just like I had the voiceover on the maps going turn southeast on da 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 da. I'm like, where the fuck's southeast? Like, and then it was just like, okay, I need to look to see if my car's going the right way. Oh yeah, I'm going southeast. That's good. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like if I don't have the picture of the car. Whereas, what did I do before that?
Map reading was like a whole skill set that you had to learn, though. I remember learning it at school.
It was, yeah.
I really feel like I need to introduce this into my homeschooling because I'm like, oh, what if my kids need to read a map one day?
You should, yeah. My kids wouldn't even know. And they're like 18 and 20. Like they wouldn't even know how to read a map. But it's because, well, we had to learn the hard way when we read maps. It was kind of like, oh shit, we've been going for 50 Ks. We went the wrong way. Got to turn around and go back. You know?
And sometimes you're like, are we going the right way? Are we not?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where we are. Let's just keep driving for a bit just to figure out where the hell we are. And you're like,
we can
you're
find the main road.
Yeah, and you're looking at the street signs and then you have to like scour the map. You're like, okay, it's not there, it's not there, it's not like, where the hell am I?
Turn it back around. Oh yeah, we're going the right way now. Oh, funny.
Fun.
Yeah. So that's how we lived in the laser with a big ass map that was probably half the size of the laser.
Yeah.
And that's how we traveled. It was phenomenal.
To me seems insane.
Those 48-hour stops. We camped there. We camped in truck bays, like the side of the road, which you're not allowed to do anymore. But we used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Wake up in the morning surrounded by trucks. You were the only one there when you got there.
Aren't there like horror movies that start out like that?
Yes. I shat myself. I absolutely, in the morning, I was just like, okay, we're never doing this again. Because, watch too many horror movies. When you're in your 20s, you just feel like you're unbreakable. You're unshakable. You're fine. Like you just do anything. Now I think about, what if we actually broke down 800 Ks in the middle of nowhere where there was nothing?
Yeah.
I think about that now for my kids. I don't want you to do what I did, because if you break down and you've got this 800 Ks to your next stop or 600 Ks or whatever it is, like,
you can't walk
nuts. No.
And you did it like, did you have a phone, a mobile?
No phone.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. I didn't get a phone till after that trip. But because you kind of didn't, like, it wasn't a thing. And so we called family, like, from, like, if we stayed at a resort, sometimes we'd lash out and stay at a resort like Club Crocodile at Airlie Beach for a week and be in the pool and live like kings and queens. We'd call from there, or we'd go to a phone booth. Like, that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so old school. Just going to I remember we walked past a phone booth. It wasn't that long ago, actually. It was a few months ago. And my son pointed into it. He's like, what is that? Like, it's a phone. He's like, oh, why is it so big? And why is it outside? Who does it belong to?
Oh, that's adorable. But yeah, like, who does it belong?
I was like, oh, that's actually some really good questions.
Far out. The things we take for granted, hey?
I know. So you traveled from Victoria and you headed north.
Yep.
What was your favorite what was one of your favorite places that you went to?
The first one that comes to mind wasn't really a place we stayed, but we drove through this most amazing, beautiful town called Tully in Queensland. It was like, it's so green, but what was majestic about it is we were driving through. I had this cool Cranberry song called Joe. It was a beautiful song, like it's a really pretty song. But we were driving through, and there was this, it was almost like a plague, but all these Ulysses, these big blue butterflies, not the Queensland ones, these Ulysses were just,
oh, wow.
There was like thousands. It was just, they were just everywhere. And it just like for a moment, everything just slowed down. The song was playing. We drove slow through it. It was like big green rainforesty trees and all these butterflies. It was the most beautiful. Wow. You know, when you anchor and you really imprint a vision in your mind that you'll never ever forget, that was it. That was one of them. But we did go to a place called Point Carumba.
Yeah.
Or Carumba Point, which is in the Gulf of Carpentaria. And that was gorgeous. There's hardly anyone there, just a couple of caravan parks, a tavern, and a beach. Obviously where crocodiles are, but it was gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
it was so pretty. But the sunset there was like, I've seen a Darwin sunset.
Yeah, Darwin sunset is amazing.
Amazing, and it'd be very, very similar. But for some reason, those sunsets there were just like, hold your breath. Like it takes your breath away. Like just amazing. So it was beautiful to go there.
So that would have been like going the Savannah way across from Queensland
from Cairns.
Because we didn't go the Savannah way. We went the other way. We went like the main highway way from Queensland to Northern Territory, like you go through Mount Isa and that way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we wanted to take the kids to Winton where they've got the dinosaur stampede and all the fossils and everything, which was really freaking cool. It was I'm so glad we did it. But at the same time, I had heard amazing things about going the Savannah way. I would love to do that. But also we'd just done Cape York, and we did that without our camper. We actually left our camper at one of the campsites.
Yeah.
Where did we leave it? Lakeland, which is just before you go up. And we had kind of heard the Savannah way was a bit bumpy, and we're like, oh, we just did bumpy. And we were like so over the bumpy.
Yeah, I can't remember, to be quite honest. Like, I think there's bitumen most of the way.
Yeah, but I think it's actually like I'm pretty sure it's tarred most of the way, but then there's a section at the end. But you can turn off before that, I've heard.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember. I just remember it just looked like you're in a different country, because coming from a rainforest, and then all of a sudden you're in this dry, arid land with these termite mounds and these big cockies, cockatoos.
Cockies means cockatoos in Aussie slang.
It's all these cockies, mate.
Oh, we saw some big cockies when we travelled. They are big up north.
They are.
Like literally, they are big up north. But anyway,
massive. But yeah, it's worth going the Savannah way to see the cockies, because they were plentiful. Is that a word? Plentiful. And there were so many of them. Yes,
lots of cockies.
It's just a different country. It's just a different country.
Cocky country.
Cocky country.
Sean's favourite place in Australia is cocky country, so she likes it where all the cockies.
Oh yeah. So anyway,
no, cockatoos are amazing. They're a beautiful bird. I totally get it.
They are, and just the big crests, like to be up close to them. I think that was the biggest thing, is being up close to seeing actually how freaking huge they are.
Sean likes to be up close to the cockies.
Oh, this episode's gone south, hasn't it? Okay, back to the story. So Sean is traveling around Australia in her Ford Laser with her partner, going to see some giant butterflies and big ass cockies, and having fun adventures along the way. So how long did you travel for in total?
It was a couple of months. It wanted to be more than that. Like we really literally wanted to go 12 months, like just keep going and work and stuff. But what happened is we were in Darwin at the time, and we went to the service station to fill up, and we got some snacks and drinks. We lost my partner's wallet, and on that day we had both our cards in his wallet for some reason. I don't know. Have no idea why we did that. And back in there, 95, we were banking with a bank called Bendigo Bank. So it was just, you could use the cards everywhere, but it was only a bank that was localized in Victoria at the time. And so we couldn't get any money. We went to the big fours here in Australia, in Darwin, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can't. So
this is the 90s. You can't just transfer money from an account into a bank and then
you have to go to a teller. Money. Yeah, you have to go to a teller to do that.
Inside the bank, talking to a person is like a whole situation these days anyway. Like that doesn't happen. So you have to get into a bank, not a bank that is the bank where your money was, a different bank, and say, hey, I've lost my wallet. I bank with this bank. Can I have some money, please? But like in the 90s, they didn't do that. You couldn't transfer in between accounts.
No,
like,
that's
in
right.
between banks.
This is a thing. And we had our bank lady on the phone. Like she's just like, well, we can try this. We can see if they'll let us put it into some kind of temporary account.
Yeah, right.
And then you can draw it out. We can say we can show them that this is how much money you've got in your bank system and da-da-da. But no, there was too many red tape things, protocols that just wouldn't allow it. And they said, well, all you can do is ask your family for money. But we had no cards to draw it out. So it was like, well, you can post it to us if you want, but you know what I mean? We had...
Oh, my God.
So we had nothing. There was nothing we could do. So
they couldn't even put money into an account that you could get money out of.
No.
Oh, my God.
I know. So there was a big rigmarole, right? And we couldn't open an account. So we couldn't even go to like the Commonwealth and
because you don't have your ID.
Don't have the IDs, except for our license, which one of us license was in the wallet that was lost. So we couldn't open an account. Yeah, it was a mess. So we were luckily we like in Darwin, my cousin was there and he was living there at the time. So we were actually staying with him, and he gave us like, this is how crazy it is. We had a little bit of cash in my bag or whatever I was carrying, backpack or something, and he gave us $50, to help us.
Yeah.
We got from Darwin to Mildura, Victoria, with I think something like $89.
What?
Plus we stayed at Uluru, like Yulara. Plus we camped there overnight for about 3 nights because we were like, oh, stuff it, we're still on holiday.
On $89.
Yeah, you know what we lived on for 3 days.
So you went from like one end of Australia, the top, to the bottom of Australia on $89.
Yep. No shit. And
we were spending like $1,000 a week traveling. And you got to one end to the other on $89. Oh, the 90s. It was a different place, wasn't it?
We got home on an empty tank of fuel and and $1.83 in the account, and not in the account, in our hands.
Oh, 1 and 2 cents was still around.
Just. But the thing is, right, we had we ate, this is what we ate at when we were stayed at Uluru, like in the Illawarra, we actually camped in the camping grounds. What we ate for 3 days while we were there holidaying and hiking around the rock and going to, like, you know, the Olgas and doing the touristy things and catching up with all these backpackers and stuff. We had mate, we even afforded $2 pots of beer, but we ate boiled potatoes, right? We had like 3 onions, and we had a bag of potatoes, and my ex-partner was Italian, so we always had olive oil and dried oregano with us, right?
Italians never leave home without that.
Never. So we just boil up potatoes, cut them up like a potato salad.
Yeah.
Raw onion diced in it, or like slivers of raw onion in it, olive oil drizzled on it, a bit of salt, and some oregano, dried oregano.
Yeah.
That was our meal every day until we got home to Mildura. And we had this gorgeous backpacker, Amon, who was from the UK. He ended up camping beside us and ate with us every meal. So we were feeding him as well. And he was like, this is the best food I've ever had.
Boiled potatoes.
So he ended up shouting us the beer when we went over to the big shed thing where all the big backpackers go. And he shouted us the beer, and we made the potatoes with onions and oregano. Yeah.
Oh,
so that
my gosh.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I can't believe you did that on $89. That's insane.
I don't even know. We obviously filled up. I don't even know. Back then, it was probably like $20 or something.
I remember driving my Laser, and it would cost like $10 or $15 to fill it up. Back in the day, because petrol was so much cheaper.
Oh, yeah. So it probably would have been 4 tanks of fuel and just living on nothing food-wise.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That's the main thing, is food and fuel.
And beer at the time.
Because you're 20.
Because you're 20.
Beer is a food group.
It's got water in it. Oh, it was
so
fun.
Funny.
Fun times, man. Fun times.
Oh, my gosh. I cannot believe that you attempted to travel Australia in a Ford Laser to live in.
Yes.
And you drove right through Australia at $89. I think you deserve some kind of trophy or medal or something.
Oh, God.
Insane.
It's crap. It was really like, that was the biggest letdown, because it was just like, damn it. Like, once we got home to Victoria, all our money was in our banks. We just get a new card, and like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it taught us a big lesson, like, to not just have your money in one spot.
Yeah.
That taught us a massive lesson there. But yeah, it was just a bummer, because it's just like, well, that sucks, because we didn't turn around and go back. We ended up getting jobs. I had my 21st at home.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, it's done now. But anyway.
Oh.
But it was good. It was fantastic. And there's so many places I want to take Simon, my beautiful partner. I just there's so many places that are amazing in Australia that you just go off the beaten track, you know, and you just see this gorgeousness and experience stuff that makes you feel something inside. Like, it really does. Like, it speaks to you. You feel something. And they're the places I want to go back to. Take the kids, take Simon, and just, really feel it. Because none of them have been to the Rock. None of them.
Yeah.
And I'd love to take them there.
I haven't been to the Rock. We didn't get there when we did our lap, but I definitely know that feeling. Like every place had its own vibe, and and it was so interesting. Like I remember the first time I really felt it was we stayed at this place called Emerald Beach, which is like near Coffs Harbour on the New South Wales coast. And I remember we set up camp, and I was just like, oh, there's something different about this place. And like the next day we went to the beach and we explored and everything, and I'm like, there's a vibe here.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, yeah, like there's definitely a vibe to this place. And then the next time that I like felt a massive shift with that was probably Fraser Island. Like as soon as you get onto that place, like it's just, I don't know, it's like being in a different world. And that was one thing that we noticed as we traveled, is like each place had its own vibe, and some places had like a real strong energy about it. And then other places, not so much, but it would be very different from place to place. And even
so
just
cool.
Yeah. And even just driving from one place to the other, especially more up north and the less populated areas of Australia, because there would be between towns, there's pretty much nothing there other than the landscape. And sometimes the landscape would be really like deserty and dry and dusty and not much there. Other times it's mountainous and there's like huge rolling hills, and other times it's like rainforest. Other times it's like the bush. Like you don't know what you're going to get, especially if it's your first time traveling around. Like it's so different, and there's so much here that I'm so glad that we did the lap. I want to do it again because like, yeah, there's so many places that I would love to go back to. So many places that we missed out of that I would love to go explore as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely like the West Coast. I know you didn't get to the West Coast, but like that is definitely worth like I just want to do the West Coast kind of like up and down a few times just because it's so beautiful there.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I've only ever been to Cottesloe to a concert thing there on the beach that Simon brought me tickets to. And so we flew into Perth, went to Cottesloe. So it's like a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it, but just felt there was an energy there. There was a vibe. And I'm like, we've got to come back. We've got to see this place.
Oh, yeah. And then Northern Territory, like I was surprised. I loved it so much more than I thought I would. I thought that I wouldn't be that into it because I was more of a beach type of person, not really a desert type of person. But it surprised me because it is quite like the water up there is amazing. Obviously you can't go swimming because of Crocs, but like there's all the inland water holes and springs and all of that sort of stuff up there, and all the amazing hikes and waterfalls, and
it's so beautiful. It's
so beautiful, and it has this energy. It just
it is. It's really hard to articulate, but there's something there that just makes you feel alive.
It does. And it makes like living in a caravan for a year or living in a freaking Ford absolutely 100% worth it.
Oh, like, yeah.
As mad as I was that I had like forgot my towel and all of my clothes fell on a communal shower floor. Like as mad as I was about that, like it was totally worth moments like that.
Oh, definitely. I remember having moments like, how good is my life?
Yes.
Like I felt like the richest person in the world that I got to experience those places.
Oh, yes. That to me is definitely, I really felt into those richness, like just richness of life and being so wealthy and abundant when you travel and you're surrounded by Mother Nature every day, and you get to go to these places that, you know, some of them are really touristy and a lot of people tend to go there, and other places like nobody's even heard of. Like I hadn't even heard of them before. I'm like, what is this place? What is going on? This is the best thing ever. Like, what is happening here? It's a real, what's the word? Like I feel really honored to be able to have done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels really special.
It does feel special. Absolutely. And visitors, you know, to this land that we get to do that, like very, you know, it is an honor for sure. And so much gratitude for that we can do this, you know.
And it's helped me to see how diverse Australia is, and also like how beautiful our land is and how much we need to take care of it, because we don't freaking take care of it.
No, exactly. This is the thing. And I think that when you do get amongst it like that, you have more of an appreciation, and you get to that point where it's just like, this means everything, regardless of what happens in the world. This is here now. Let's leave it as pristine as we can possibly make it, you know.
And really appreciating like the culture and the history that we have here. And I feel like that the original owners of this land, they know how to take care of this country and this land that we are living on better than anybody else. And we need to start shifting out of what we've always done and really get back to Mother Nature, and understanding like how to take care of her, especially our own, like whatever country you live in, like really understanding the history and the culture and how we can get back to doing things in a way that was working for so long.
Exactly. Yeah. Let us learn.
Yeah.
You know, let us learn. Be open to learning and going back to the Indigenous people that know the land and showing us their ways.
Yeah.
On that note.
What an episode.
That was beautiful.
Learned some things about you today, Shonah. She can do a lot with $89.
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wild Rose! Wild Rose!
Wow.